Hello, we are thrift shopping today, and we thought it would be really fun to take you along with us. We have a couple of thrift stores in the town that we're going to, and we had a grocery pickup, so we're gonna hit a couple of thrift stores, maybe hit the library book sale because we got to return some books while we're over here, and we're gonna take you along with us. So we made out like bandits at that store. That store charges, well, last time I was here they charged 50 cents a bag, but this time they charged $1 a bag, but we got 20 books and they fit it in one bag. So that's like 5 cents a book, which is unbelievable, but we found so many good ones. You want to show them what you found? The big book of baby names, and it has lots of really funny lists in it, doesn't it?
Yeah, like architects of the future, a name for all seasons and weather, all might get made fun of on the playground.
Just really random lists, and it's got all the meanings and everything too. Super fun. So we are off to at least one more spot before we go for our grocery pickup. So I did find a few books at my library book sale. I always do. Their paperbacks are 10 cents and their hardcovers are 25 cents. So I spent $1.50 there and ended up with 9 more books.
Oh, hey.
Claire didn't find anything at the library book sale that she wanted to get, but she's still enjoying this baby name book quite a bit.
It's got good names.
We are here waiting for our grocery pickup. And then I think we're gonna do one more stop. I don't want to do a lot more stops because I'm gonna have cold stuff in the trunk, but the last place that I want to go has a smaller book section, so I don't think we would be in there for very long. messed up, and books there are a little bit more pricey than the other places that I've been, but still not actually expensive. I mean, the adult books I think are like 99 cents or 79 cents, and then the kids books are like 60 cents, something like that. I remember.
My God, it magically twirls.
And Claire found a wand and also some books, right? All right, show us the books you got.
Well, there's this one and this one.
And see, they have little charms or shoe charms. That was the main reason why she got them.
Yeah, it was.
So now we're gonna go home, and then I will record a haul to show you all the books that we got. Okay, so it's actually the next day. But that's okay, it's fine. And I'm gonna go ahead and share all the books that I found. So we will start with the first thrift store that I went to, the one where I basically ended up paying 5 cents a book, and I got 20 books there, which is a lot. So the first book that I got is this beautiful old edition of Emerson's essays. So I really love old books so much. This actually doesn't have a publication date on it, so I'm not exactly sure when it was published, but it's really pretty. And I like Ralph Waldo Emerson, and I'm sure that my daughter will probably need to read some of his essays in school at some point, so double reasons to get that one. I also found this copy of a Redwall book. I actually never read the Redwall books when I was a kid, but I remember really liking the TV show that was on PBS. I also found part 2 of the Divine Comedy by Dante. So this is Purgatory. The cover is like cut for some reason. I do not know why, but paid 5 cents for it, so I picked it up anyway. I also found At Home in Mitford by Jan Karan, and Kate Howe loves this series, and she's reading through the series this year on her channel. I've never read any of them, but I figured I would go ahead and try this one since it was really cheap. I also found Our Town by Thornton Wilder. This is a play that I haven't read, but I've heard really good things about, and so I picked that one up. I also found this copy of Billy Budd by Herman Melville, who wrote Moby Dick. And it's funny because like this sticker here, well, it's not even a sticker, it's part of the cover. I had several books like this as a kid. I had Around the World in 80 Days, The Secret Garden, and Heidi, like all in this like Walmart edition that had like this on the cover. So that was kind of funny to have found that. I also found All the King's Men. I have a homeschool mama friend who recently read this book and really loved it. I found a biography of Hudson Taylor and his wife, and Hudson Taylor was a missionary to China, and I don't know anything like about this author or anything, but I don't have anything about Hudson Taylor, so I picked this one up. I was really excited about this one. This is in like really good condition. Under the Banner of Heaven by John Krakauer. I actually read this book last year and it's amazing. If you like books about cults and you like nonfiction, you'll probably really enjoy this book. I don't read a ton of nonfiction, but this one sucked me right in, and a huge reason why I read it is because it's about like fundamentalist Mormon sects. So it's about like the Mormons that kind of like sequester themselves away from the normal Mormons and believe that they should still participate in polygamy, and they're just like way off in the deep end. And there was a couple of brothers, I think it was, who thought they heard it from God that they were supposed to kill one of their brother's wives and their child, and which is just crazy. And so that's kind of like the main story that this is about, but then it goes into like the history of Mormonism and the history of like fundamentalist sects within the Mormon church. So I thought it was super, super interesting. And I would like to reread it again at some point, and it might even be one my husband is interested in reading, but I was really excited to find it. I also found this super old copy of Little Lord Fauntleroy by Frances Hodgson Burnett. I have never read this, but I love Frances Hodgson Burnett. I love The Secret Garden and I love A Little Princess. So I picked this one up. I was really excited about this one too. It's a very like beat up old paperback, but again, these were 5 cents. So I don't care about the condition so much as long as they're readable and not actually falling apart. But this is Joy in the Morning by Betty Smith. She's the same author who wrote A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. And I read that last year or the year before, I can't remember, and really, really liked it. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. This is basically about a couple who gets married young and they're really poor, and it's about the beginning parts of their marriage. And I totally got married very young and we were pretty poor for a while because that's just kind of how it is when you get married really young. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I love Betty Smith and just the way that she writes is just beautiful. I also found Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut. I don't know if I'm gonna like this book. I've heard very conflicting things about it, but I figured I would pick it up and give it a try. This is a book that is like so many like family's like favorite Christmas book, and it's the best Christmas pageant ever. I've never read it, so I picked it up and figured Claire and I can read it together in December. I found Among the Imposters by Margaret Peterson Haddix. This is book 2 of a series that Krista from Books and Jams just recently talked about reading last month, I think. She read like the whole series, and it's like, it's middle grade, but it's dystopian, and it sounded really interesting. So I don't have book 1, but I have book 2. So I just need to find book 1 somewhere. I'm sure I could find it. So yeah, I was really interested to find this one. I also found Schindler's List, which I actually did not know it was a book. Pretty familiar with the movie, but did not know that it was a book first. So I'm sure this will be a very heartbreaking book. I also found The Memory Keeper's Daughter. I believe this is about like this woman gives birth and her daughter has Down syndrome, and so like the father who delivers the baby is a doctor and he doesn't want to raise a child with Down syndrome, so he basically gives it to his like nurse and tells her to get rid of the baby, and then just tells his wife that the baby died. But the nurse decides that she wants to keep this baby and raise it, and so pretty sure that's what it's about. I don't know. I don't know whether or not I'll like this one, but again, it was like 5 cents. I also found Same Sun Here by Silas House and Neela Vaswani, probably butchering that last name. This book I think is about like an immigrant who becomes pen pals with someone. It's a middle grade book and it sounded really good. And then the last book that I found there is Christy by Catherine Marshall. I remember my dad reading this book to me when I was a kid. So coming on the heels of all my nostalgic reads, it's a nostalgic one. I don't know if I will like it as an adult. It's not a kid's book. It is an adult book. But I don't know. Lots of things that I loved when I was younger, I don't necessarily love being older, but I remember this book being really good and my dad really enjoying it. So I'd like to read this one or reread it, I guess, at some point. And that's all my books from the first thrift store that I went to, except for the baby name book, which my daughter has hijacked it somewhere, but you saw it, so I don't need to show it here. Next, I have some library books. I spent a whopping $1.50 at the library. Oh, I spent $1 at the other thrift store, if I didn't say that earlier in my video. At the library, all paperbacks are 10 cents and all hardcovers are 25 cents. So I have 4 hardcovers. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. And 5 paperbacks, I think. I actually have 6 paperbacks, so I bet one of these goes in the stack that I just went through, but it's fine, it's fine. So the first one that I found is the Penkovsky Papers. So this is about a guy who was very much against what the Soviet Union was doing and the Stalinist regime, and he basically provided information to the Western world about what was going on and was kind of like a double agent, so to speak. So this is all of his kind of stuff, information, papers, journal entries, whatever. So I thought that sounded really interesting. This one's for my husband, In the Heart of the Sea by Nathaniel Philbrick. I'm pretty sure this is a story about like people on a boat, and then they kind of, I don't know if their boat sinks or whatever, but they have encounters with a massive sperm whale, and it was the inspiration for Herman Melville's Moby Dick. So my husband loves Nathaniel Philbrick, so I bought this one for him. This is the one that belongs in the other stack. Okay, this is bluish. This is a middle grade book, and it's about a girl who goes to school like in a wheelchair, and she wears this like cap all the time, and as it turns out, she's going through chemotherapy and stuff, and she gets to bring like a therapy animal with her to school, and it's kind of about other kids trying to understand her or things like that. So I thought that sounded really good. It's probably going to be very sad, but I'm looking forward to trying that one. I also found The School for Good and Evil. I have heard kind of like mixed things about this series. So this is about like, there's two schools, a school where you can go if you're good, and then a school where you can go if you're evil. It's like fairy tale land kind of deal. So I like fairy tale stuff, so I thought that sounded good. I don't know if this qualifies as middle grade or YA. I'm not really sure. Then I found Among the Barons. This is book 4 in that same Margaret Peterson Haddock series, so I found another one. I also found The Kitchen God's Wife by Amy Tan. I've heard really good things about this book, and I really like the premise of it. So it's about a woman who in like the 1920s is like journeying through China and eventually ends up in the United States. And I thought it sounded really good. The cover is so pretty too. And it's in like perfect condition, and it was 10 cents. Next, I found a Louisa May Alcott, The Inheritance. I've never even heard of this before. At the top it says, my first novel, oh my gosh, Claire, written at 17. So don't know anything about it, but it said Louisa May Alcott, so I got it. I also found, I was influenced by Noah from Everyone Who Reads It Must Converse on this, because he is reading this right now, and it's Foucault's Pendulum by Umberto Eco. I don't know a lot about this book, but I know that it very much deals in like nonsense and conspiracy theories, and it may be like way too out there for me because Noah reads a lot of books that I'm just not like smart enough to understand. But he made it sound so good, so I picked that one up. And then I found Strange the Dreamer and its sequel, Muse of Nightmares. These are YA books, but I've heard really good things about them, and I've heard that like the writing is absolutely beautiful in these, so I figured I would give them a shot. And they are ex-library, so our library is no longer carrying them, so that means that my chance to read them is pretty much gone unless I pick them up at the library book sale. So I picked them up. That is all of my library books that I got. Then we went to that last thrift store. My daughter's hijacked a couple of the books from there, the Princess Pony books that have like the charms in them. You saw those too, so it's okay. She already has them. But I did pick up some other books there. I picked up this one mostly for my husband because he really loves history books, but I found this book, Over the Edge of the World, and it's about Magellan, and it sounded really interesting. It has deckled edges and French flaps with a map inside, which he doesn't really care about that, but it made it more appealing to me. I also found this copy of the Great Dialogues of Plato. I don't know. I haven't read a lot of Plato. My daughter probably will at some point in school, and I'd like to dip my toe into it a little bit at some point, so pick that one up. Also found an Agatha Christie, The Mystery of the Blue Train. I'm sure I've read this one, but I don't remember anything about it. Also found The Elegance of the Hedgehog by Mural, Barbary. I don't really know anything about this book, but I had a friend who recently read it and was talking about how much she loved it, and we share a lot of the same reading tastes, so this was, I think, like 60 cents or something like that, so I picked it up. And then last, I got this book for my daughter, The Princess and the Foal. Like, princesses plus horses is absolute heaven in my daughter's book. So that is all of the books that I found, you know, just a couple. But I find it hard to restrain myself when most of the books I bought were 5 cents and then a whole bunch were 10 cents or 25 cents. The only ones that were more were the books from that last thrift store, and the most expensive ones were these 3, and they were still only like either 99 cents or 79 cents. I can't remember which, so still totally worth it. Well, that's all for this video. Thanks so much for coming thrifting with us, and I hope you enjoyed seeing this bigger than expected book haul. I just can't stop, but I don't really want to either. I would love to hear from you down in the comments below some great books that you've gotten recently that you are looking forward to reading, or if there are any of these books here that you have read and you think I should read sooner rather than later, or maybe that you want to caution me against because you know my reading tastes. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please hit like and also subscribe so you can continue to see more bookish content from me, and I will see you again next time.